Welcome everyone to yet another episode in the Simon Go Back series. We are here after the fifth T20 International. India just clinched, coming back from twice coming back from behind victory and winning the final decider, the fifth T20 by a handsome margin of 30 plus runs. Uh, Today on panel we have Vishal, Vignesh, and Amok. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. We are going to discuss quite a bit today. Let's start off with some nice feeling and let's savor this victory because after a long time, we can say we showed why the batting of Indian cricket team is that powerful, especially on their good days. Gentlemen, Vishal, a quick thought on this match.
Yeah, great performance, 2-all, and we just, I think, outplayed England. The start given by Virat and Rohit was top class, and Rohit started off really well. And after that, Virat took over along with Surya, and I think we batted England out of the game.
Mhm.
And so, for all the talk on the toss, we won the last two games batting first, which is a great sign for us leading to the World Cup. So that is the biggest positive for me.
I agree. I will jump a bit further. Apart from just the fact that we won batting first, I think another really heartwarming feel is the fact that we needed to use only four batsmen without the use of players like Rishabh Pant and hard-hitting skills that we can have later in the batting. So Vignesh, do you think that this combination of having that six bowling option, this is workable? Why didn't India go with this before?
I think so. India was experimenting across the five T20 series. They wanted to see what worked. I think so. On few occasions, we were a bit lucky, especially playing five bowlers. One bowler on that given day actually came to the fore, except for the last T20. Uh, we always had one bowler who bowled well. It was either Washington Sundar or Hardik Pandya. Someone gave that match-winning sort of performance. And you had Shardul Thakur also who performed here and there, taking crucial wickets. So I think so. We were lucky a little bit with, I wouldn't say lucky, I would say 70-30. So 70% skill, 30% luck in the fact that the middle order of England gave their wickets away. But I think we definitely need to go with six bowling options, because I think so in crunch games you need that sixth option to be able to get us over the line, or else we are in deep trouble if we go with only five.
Yeah, I agree. I think there is horses for courses. You can experiment some days with say Rahul Chahar giving 3 overs and Washington just one, and on other days it can be just the other way around. Let's go further. Something that Vishal just briefly mentioned. There's this series you have had different opening combinations every single game. This time Virat Kohli came up the order, opened the innings, hit a 18 unbeaten, winning the man of the series, and pretty much batting throughout the entire 20 overs. Amoka, do you think this is also the way forward for India?
First of all, I would like to, before I answer your question, I'd seen this meme where Root has put a hand around Morgan saying that, first match, they're like this only guys. அவங்க சொதுப்பாங்க முதல்த்து மேட்ச் அதுக்கப்புறமா பவுன்ஸ் பேக் பண்ணாங்கன்ட்டு. So that's exactly been the template of the pitch and template of the way we have gone. Kohli, I think, was probably the longest period ever since he became King Kohli. I think there was never a period like this where he had a dip in form or question whether, why is he getting more number of chances than when other people are getting dropped. This is when all those question marks are happening. He had to prove it in these T20s. And once he does, it's like, the template is back, his average is back.
Mm-hmm.
All that is back. Simple.
sitting healthy. It's now gone above 51. There was chances that it may drop lower than 50, and Kohli was like, no. If we had one Jambavan in Kohli doing great, we had another Jambavan in Bhuvneshwar Kumar, who just steamrolled the English attack. Vishal, your thoughts on that spectacular performance? For him especially, it was a comeback series. Yeah, your thoughts on Bhuvneshwar Kumar?
I think at the start of the series, I mentioned that one of the players I was looking forward to was Bhuvneshwar Kumar.
Yeah.
And he just proved that he's a champion bowler for us. Bowled superbly well in a 12 over run chase, or rather 11 and a half run over run chase, him going around 4 runs per over. Well, it's like gold dust, right? And took the important wicket of Jason Roy in the first 6, and again came back, took Butler. So and the thing that I was most happy about was he was swinging the ball both ways in all the T20s, which is a good sign for us moving forward. And in the death, I saw him bowl the Yorkers and the slow ones. So looks like he's back to form, and hopefully this trend continues in the IPL, because he's going to be a massive player for us in the World Cup, along with Bumrah in the bowling department.
I agree. And let's share let's give them the fair share of laurels. So let's talk about the rest of the supporting acts in our bowling department. Vignesh, Hardik Pandya just seems to be nailing those short bounces. The ball is turning like it's Dwayne Bravo for a second there, and his contributions, less with the bat and more with the ball, augurs well for India. Don't you feel so?
Definitely. I wouldn't say his contributions were less with the bat. He had only a few deliveries to play, and then when he came in, he had to go hammer and tongs. So that means he did his role admirably with the bat. So to try and score as much as he can with the limited number of balls. But definitely with the ball in hand, especially with the injury that he's had, I think so. With the remodeled action, more on the foot placement to make sure he doesn't, the injury doesn't recur. He bowled brilliantly. The slower balls behind, back of the hand deliveries, the slower bouncers. I think so. He delivered balls at a whim, and he knew how to fox good batsmen. It's not like you had the tailenders coming, but the likes of Ben Stokes and Owen Morgan, and the really class batsmen who can take away games,
Right.
with just a flick of their wrist. They're quite classy players, and to be able to control in all three phases, the start, the middle, and the end, he was phenomenal. And not to mention that the ball was also quite wet. So to do what he did with the wet ball was showed his level of bowling has gone up a notch.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the confidence is also reflective in how Kohli is operating him, giving him over number 2 in power play against the best attacking side. I think that already shows the confidence that both the team have in Hardik Pandya and Hardik Pandya has in himself. Amog, let's go a bit to other players. Of course, we had a slow bowler specialist. He bowls all kinds of slow balls in Shardul Thakur. He just seems to know how to get these left-handers out. They just don't know what to do to him. What are your thoughts?
Right. So, there are like 2 fifth bowling options if you see in the Indian team, and that every team tries to target that fifth bowler. So it's like if the spinners are having a bad day, then they target them. And in the seamers, he's the one that they want to target the most. And when he's on, they have this feeling that we can get runs now. This is an opportunity for us to get runs. And they try to go a little bit more hard against him. And that's where that smartness of his slower balls really seems to be working. And this time he really was having an extra edge over all the left-handers, and he was always under the pump. Like Rohit Sharma said in the post-match presentation, he was saying that every time he was under the pump, though he was giving runs, he was picking those crucial wickets for us. So Yeah, he's. These are all that IPL tactics, which it's all these are the fruits of those IPL tactics and all the bowling in crucial moments, the tough overs. Especially Shardul Thakur, I think, has never bowled an easy over. He's never bowled an eighth over or a 10th over where they're just looking to score 7 or 8 runs. He's either bowled at the fourth or sixth over where they're trying to hit the most, trying to maximize the power play, or then he bowls in the 16th and the 18th over, which it's a death over. So that guy's uh, runs per over is not justified if it's 10 runs per over if he's giving it. But I think he's one of the best finds for India. With him, there is always a good balance for India. You can
Exactly.
always experiment because there is a bowler like Shardul Thakur.
He adds that good balance, and if he's partnered with Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, I think our tail runs deep. I always say that although his economy may be on the higher side, it just seems that he gets the batsman to play one extra shot, and that one extra shot is inevitably a wicket, and that's what we need more often from our bowlers. So yeah, it works. I think that summarizes our fifth T20 well. There are some observations for the entire series. If you remember before, we talked about the weight that this series has for both teams. Some notable observations. One, India winning at 3, of course, but each in different ways. Bowling dominated a match. We had an all-round performance in the fourth, and in this one, our batting dominated and ruled the roost. Are you happy with how well balanced and all scenario-esque team that India is planning to become, Vishal? Are you happy with the state that we are in right now?
Yeah, big positive for us that we won the series. And if we take a look in general, after the 2016 World Cup, we have been one of the best sides in the T20 circuit. Just to put some numbers here, we have played 23 series and won 16 of them. And I think we have lost only one T20 series in India. So we are going to be one of the favorites for this T20 World Cup, as it is going to be held in India. And coming to the combinations and selection, I think it's a good headache to have, because I feel we have a group of players to choose from. And I think there's going to be a couple of tough calls, because as I understand, we need 15 for the World Cup. But we are in a good place, and I think most of the boxes are ticked. And we are one of the favorites for the World Cup. So I'm totally happy with how we played this series and how we dominated, especially in the last 2 games.
I agree that we are definitely one of the favorites, and I will stick my neck out and say we are the favorites. Vignesh, let's go a bit further. We seem that you already mentioned that India were experimenting with this series, and I think they have built up enough muscle. They need to chew the fat now. They need to remove it. And the question is, okay, it's fine that you have a good headache, but is there stability in selection? Is there a logic currently? Because Kohli has done great at 2, 3, and 4. Ishan Kishan has done great at 3 and 2. And players just seem to be playing like musical chairs. They just come and sit anywhere. They do well. So now the question is, how do you fix that? How do you make a 11?
It's going to be difficult for Kohli, but I don't think it's going to be too hard. In a sense, I believe if you look at the core 11, I think so. The top, it's always going to be Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul, followed by Virat Kohli, and then I think so you've got your Shreyas Iyer, you've got your Rishabh Pant, your Hardik Pandya, your Shardul Thakur, you've got your Ravindra Jadeja for your spin. It can also go either with Yuzvendra Chahal or Washington Sundar for variety. And then you've got your Bhuvaneshwar Kumar and then your Jasprit Bumrah. So then that's a solid lineup to have. If you're looking at backups, you always look at your Surya Kumar Yadav, who can come in as a backup for one of these players. You've got your T Natarajan, who's also a fast bowler who can come in. It's very sad to say, but Shami is also becomes a backup bowler in this situation. But again, depending on the pitches that we have across the various Indian grounds. You can always chop and change. And then you got Ishan Kishan as a backup wicketkeeper. So you got three wicket keepers in the role, and then might be and so in this, what you're doing is you don't need to also pick an all-rounder per se, like a specific all-rounder, because now you've got three people who can bat. So if KL Rahul is not performing, you've got Ishan Kishan who can come in. So you've got the left-right combination. But if they don't want to take Ishan Kishan, then you can have also Virat Kohli who can then bat up, and then you can have someone else in the middle order. So then you've got such flexibility around your team now that I think so it bodes well for India's chances in the T20 World Cup. The only worry for me is India should get over the jinx of their semi-finals. We are seeming to lose all our semi-finals and finals, and I really hope that this team, with all the IPL experience and the pressure that they have handled, can also handle the pressure of an semi-final and final in India, and then lift that trophy.
I think there will be a discussion separate on this channel just on that point. There is, let's say, rumors in the air, and I'm sure this side knows more than how to overcome it. There is a problem of plenty. You did talk about the people waiting in the lines to get in, and it's so much so appears that a second Indian 11 is also looking like favorites to win the World Cup. Amog, let's go further and then talk about what's between now and that World Cup. And you always have maintained that IPL will decide a lot of these things. And then comes the question, what will change because of the IPL? Say tomorrow there's a breakthrough performance by somebody like Varun Chakravarti or Prasidh Krishna. Does he suddenly come into the squad having not played? What happens now in this IPL? Are we just looking at stats to decide the first 11? What happens? How do you select, and what does this
bowling wise, I don't think there'll be much change unless and until there's some injury to a couple of players. I don't think so. See, only person who can fit in now there is Jadeja. Only Jadeja is there as a backup in the form of bowling. Varun Chakravarti was already there in the mix. So if he comes in, Varun Chakravarti will make it in. But Prasidh Krishna into the T20, I don't see that happening anytime soon. Because you have Bhuvi, who, if we want him to be fit, you can see what he can do.
The sentiment is more about what IPL means, not individual players. Do you think that the squad will be this set of players, or are they still scouting for one or two extra options?
Yeah, so I was trying to boil it down in such a way that bowling part of it, there will not be changes. If there are changes, it will happen in the batting department. And it will be again in this mix itself, which has happened in the 5 T20s. You can see KL Rahul, Ishan Kishan, Shikhar Dhawan, all these people fight for that spot. Everyone seems to think that, okay, Shikhar Dhawan's gone now. But if he plays, like David Warner in the IPL, and then they'll immediately think, why not? Why not have him in the, open for India? If he's having an average of 60 plus in the IPL, all these will get accounted for the fight is happening, except for Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma. No other spot over there is fixed. When Shreyas Iyer, if he has a bad IPL, then they'll immediately look like putting Surya Kumar Yadav over there. If Shreyas Iyer had struggled, trust me, if Shreyas Iyer had struggled, he had a brilliant 5 T20s. And what a small roles that he had to play. People have forgotten that Shreyas Iyer has played such an important role. They're all talking about Surya Kumar Yadav and Ishan Kishan, but Shreyas Iyer also was brilliant. So that's how it's all about being who is more eye candy over here. So that is where IPL makes the proper mix over there.
Agreed.
So I feel only the fixed spot and the who can just have a sigh of relief is Hardik Pandya, Virat Kohli, and Rohit Sharma. That's it. Everybody else has to have one of the finest IPLs to make sure that their spot is fixed in the playing 11.
Yeah, I think Amog answered my question. Basically, the squad is fixed. but what selectors or at least the team management would look at the IPL is to decide which among the squad will be a playing 11. And that augurs well for India.
Maybe just to add, because there is also rumors that there could be an Asia Cup with only T20s. That will happen before the T20. The Test World Championship. Whether it goes ahead or not is a question mark. But then that would also then be a platform for some of these players who only play the limited over formats to also sort of get a dry run in Asian conditions, and then also could be a sort of a proving ground for the selectors on why one should be picked over the other. Because I think so with good teams like Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and even Afghanistan, I think so all of these in a T20 scenario are cannot be sort of discarded.
Yeah,
as winners.
It's true. I think in general T20 is a very vicious sport. Anyone on their day can just win. And so you have to always take these terms like the favorites and underdogs very lightly. But I'm sure if at all an Asian T20 Cup happens, it will be great fun, and India will still be favorites even if they send the third team. I think that rounds up this discussion of T20 that we have. And let's get to the OG limited overs version that we had, that I cherished, especially as a kid, to see the white ball and to see the colored kits. Let's move to the one-day discussions. It's a 3-match series between India and England. It's also worth remembering that there is no World Cup as such to plan towards. But the World Cup will happen in India in 2023. And in a way, this is like a small research lab for the final 2023 World Cup. What are your thoughts, gentlemen? Is this going to be a high octane competition, or is it just going to be, let's see what happens? What's the approach going to be by both India and England? Vishal, you can start.
Yeah, so there's been so much emphasis on T20 cricket that the ODI series has floated under the radar. But yeah, coming to your question, I think India since 2019 have had an up and down sort of ODI form, in the sense that, and if you take a look at this last 6 ODIs, we have won only one, where we lost 3-0 in New Zealand and lost 2-1 in Australia. So we need to get back to form, and the next World Cup is in India, but it's still far away. Before that, we have a couple of T20 World Cups. So I think we'll just play with the team that we have been playing so far, and try to get on board in the ICC ODI points. Now there's a point system in the ODIs as well. So we are, I think, in the 10th place or something. We need to move up the ladder. So we need to start winning. And coming to England, I think England will experiment. That's what I think, looking from the outside and reading a lot of reports. So this could be a series where England is sort of experimenting with their side, and India trying to get back after losing in Australia and New Zealand, and try to win the series against England.
Okay. I think if I look at it, I think England may experiment, but they also want to try and clinch a series in India. So maybe not too much experimentation as well. Let's see how things progress. Vignesh, so we have had a lot of talk, and for a long time we have been in Ahmedabad in Narendra Modi Stadium. We have talked about pitches, we have talked about dew, we have talked about the ring of fire lights, the great stadium, the capacity, the fans, everything. And it's time to remember that, but put it in our past. And we have moved now to Pune, new stadium, a new square in the center. What can you expect at Pune for this 3 ODIs?
Pune has shown two kinds of wickets. When CSK played over there, it was a slow turner, as Dhoni loves. But you also have had during the Pune Super Giants, that you did have very good all-round wicket over there. So it is, if I was the captain and I was the coach, I would go for a balanced wicket, which assisted both bowlers and the batsmen. Given India's bowling lineup, I think it would be on slightly on the slower side. So I do expect the pitch to might be deteriorate from game 1 to game 3 and suit the spinners as we go into to game 3. So it would play brilliantly into the hands of someone like Washington Sundar and Yuzvendra Chahal, especially games 2 and 3. But I expect at least the first game to be quite a humdinger in terms of the runs scored.
Okay, so if you put a number to the first innings total, what do you expect?
Given both the sides, I would say 290, 300 for the first ODI.
Okay,
and
that'll be fun to watch. Amog, to round off these discussions before we get to our X Factor conversations, some new players into the mix, and also some old players very keen to make some performances. KL Rahul, how do you fix him in this team? Does he miss out for Rishabh Pant? And also new players like, say, Prasidh Krishna. Will he get the chance to don the India blue? And from what performances we have seen these youngsters do, I expect him to come and win a man of the match. What do you think? How do you think India will approach its team selection?
Yeah, I mean, if not the very first ODI, he'll definitely get a chance. Yeah, in one of the 3 ODIs. Definitely, he will get the chance to play for India, and that is seriously commendable stuff. Really happy for him. KL Rahul, again, I don't think. I mean, I would be happy if he gets a chance, but I really don't think so with the current form, and that's how he would go. But I would only want to watch this 3 ODIs for one reason, and that would be Virat Kohli getting 100. That's it. There's nothing else for me. It doesn't matter if we lose 3-0 also. I just want Virat Kohli to get 100 and move that number from 69 to 17.
Yeah, Amog is always a Virat Kohli fan. No surprises there, but I definitely don't want to see India lose 3-0. It will make the story of this England tour to India a bit sour in the end. And I would like
no. Trust me, it wouldn't. It wouldn't. We have whooped them enough. We whooped them enough, and we would have been like, it's okay. You guys take some lollipop at least and go back.
I wait for that 12 o'clock conversations where you come and whine about how India did so badly.
That will happen nonetheless. That will happen nonetheless.
Anyway,
Even if we win.
let's move to certain things to look forward to. Vishal, who's your ex-player or the X-Factor player, both with the bat and ball for India in these 3 ODI matches?
Well, yeah, so more than X Factor player, like I would like to see how these 2 players perform, who I'm going to mention. In the bowling department, I want T Natarajan to play all the 3 games and see how he bowls with the new ball if he gets a chance, and also in the depth. So he's a left-arm seamer and could play a crucial role in the coming years for us in the white ball format. And in the batting department, I'm looking forward to watch Shreyas Iyer play. So he's been with the team at least I think for 3 to 4 years, and I would like to see him get a couple of big scores and cement his place in the team. So because I think
number 4 position.
Yes, and for the World Cup, because according to me, he's the future of Indian batting. So yeah. So these 2 players I would look out for in the series. And before I finish, last time India played England in Pune, 350 odd runs were scored and India chased it. So I hope something similar happens tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay. That's all right. So one about the match and 2 X factors. Vikesh, very quickly, who are your players to look
For
at?
me, with the bat, I agree with Vishal. For me, it has to be Shreyas Iyer. I want him to be the prominent figure to shepherd the middle order, because I think he's going to be the key player for the 2023 World Cup, and I want him to start showing that faith that the Indian team management has shown in him. So for me, it is Shreyas Iyer with the bat, and I want with the ball Yuzvendra Chahal to come out, because I think so he's got a whooping in the T20 series, both in Australia and in India, and I think so he needs to get that little bit of confidence before the IPL, and also if he has a good IPL, then it will also bode well for India's chances, because he's a wicket taker. Being a leg spinner, he's a wicket taker, and we need someone like that.
I agree. I think he, since that concession substitution, he has not really performed a lot, and I think he's looking out to show the metal that he's made out of, and if he does well, it bodes well for RCB as well. So I'm happy. Well, very quickly, what are your takes?
I'm looking at Shubman Gill and Bhuvi. Bhuvi is playing, so that these two are the people I'm looking forward to. Shubman Gill, if Shubman Gill doesn't perform, then Mayank Agarwal should be given a chance.
Okay. So some new blood, some old people whom we think will be our next stalwart, like in Shreyas Iyer. That's been today's session. We talked about a lot. I think we covered it quite well. Thank you for watching us. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. This has been Simon Go Back, and I'm sure we'll win even the ODI series. Cheers.